It's a beautiful morning, Florence. It's good to be here this morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
And the weather, is something else.
Yeah, it's really chilly.
Yeah, it's good to be here this morning. We say good morning to everyone out there. It's another Monday edition of AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. My name is Jade Sola Ajibola, welcoming you.
And good morning to you. Thank you for joining us again this beautiful morning. I trust your morning is just as beautiful. Welcome again to the show. My name is Florence Cheryl.
All right, we'll take you through some of the stories that made the headlines from the dailies this morning. And of course, after which we'll serve you with the weather report, quote for the day, the interview segment, and we'll wrap it up with sport update. All right, this morning I have the Vanguard newspaper with me, and I'll begin with stories on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. The major story there says APC primaries, powerful reps among 50 losers. Mutu, Gadi, Etaba, Ehovore, others miss out. Speaker Abbas, deputy, others secure tickets. All right, the story is on page 5. You come to page 9, Ebola and CDC activate emergency surveillance as WHO declares international emergency. On page 38, kidnapping, Senate vows to fast-track Senate police as IGP visits Oyo. All right, on page 14, power sector, biggest scam in Nigeria. That's coming from Joe Ajero, the NLC president. You have Pencom, plans jumbo pension for police. On page 8, on page 12, we have fertilizer plants, Dangote vows to ensure food security in Africa. All right, that story is there. And of course, we go to other stories that made the headline this morning. We'll come to page 8. No foreign soldier in ground battle against Iminiki. That's coming from the defense headquarters. Tinubu's borrowing reckless economic vandalism. That's coming from Atiku. All right, xenophobia. How Ghana's swift response exposed Nigeria's lethargy. That's coming from Atiku. NEMA to states be proactive against flooding. All right, BPP clamps down on contract padding as new rules for central review of all variation requests. LP disowns Abure's nomination form. Let's go check all the pages for more stories. We'll come to page 10 and 11. On the financial page, manufacturing export stagnates despite rising trade value. All right, stock market extends rally as investors reap 3.3 trillion naira. That story is also there. All right, neglected, isolated, untold story of Uzoa Koli, leprosy colony inmates. The story is also there. All right, we have EDB Mauritius launches Lagos Abidjan Accra Investment Forum. SEC warns Nigerians against rising Ponzi scheme on social media. All right, FG pledges support for ICANN governance bill secretariat project. The story is on page 12. We'll come to page 13. Nestor, we are not responsible for banks' failure to pay dividend. All right, financial institution race to meet CBN deadline on new cyber security standard. The story is also on page 13. All right, we'll come to the biggest scam in Nigeria from Joe Ajero, the NLC president. And then we'll go forward to page 18, Nigeria's pension crisis, debt we owe our retirees. Still on the same page 18, 2027, APC's arrogance, PDP's collapse, and the coalition that must not fail. All right, red salute to Segun Oshoba, leader of the Nigeria left. The reflection on leadership, political stability, the future of Kwara. The story is there. Taiwo Yedele, likewise, Nigeria cannot tax its way out of poverty. All right, the search for competent Nigerian presidency. That story is on page 20. On page 21, you have FG unveil plan to revive textile sector, target 1.5 million jobs. All right, AFDB unveils $200 million support package for Nigeria's industrial sector. Nigeria, Rwanda push for partnership on industrialization trade. Of course, we still have on page 21, FG targets 250 billion naira saving in local paper production boost. And on page 22, FG rolls out free health care for pensioners earning below 70,000. All right, we have all the stories. Let's flip through. All right, let's go to page 29. I don't hate Igbos. That's coming from UCT HCMD. All right, Abia government probes ABSU scandal, invites petition. All right, Kalu Oyejocha clinch APC reps ticket in Abia. 2027, Okwa targets industrialization, jobs, tourism in Aba. All right, Mba inspect road, hospital, smart city project. Monarchs to Southeast governors emulate Otis Abia model. All right, we'll come to page 30. Yanagua to get 24-hour electricity soon. That's coming from Dairy. And of course, I'll go straight to some of the sports stories of this morning. My target is to win trophies. That's coming from Chile. Reveals plan for Ronaldo's Portugal. All right, Iheanacho challenges Chile, says you need more to win trophies. Ogazi conjure another magic run, sets new national record. Nigeria ends Africa's senior weightlifting championship with 27 medals. Athlete official returns today. All right, of course, those are some of the stories that I can take this morning from the Vanguard newspaper. What to you, Florence?
Yes, I have with me the Nigerian Tribune this morning, and trending on the front page, Ogun East, Kwara Central, Imo West remain contentious. Senator plots return ticket. Daniel Campaign Organization direct supporters to boycott Ogun East primary. Controversies hit reps primaries as more candidates emerge. Still on the front page, airtime lending freeze persists despite the court's orders, affects 40 million Nigerians. Saudi authorities declared May 26, Arafat May 27, Eid al-Haddad. This is on page 3. Still on the front page, on the health segment, we have scientists reverse stroke damage using stem cells. World Health Organization declares emergency as Ebola outbreaks, kills over 80 in Congo. Nigeria not in debt crisis, but doesn't have to borrow, says experts. NLC pushes for fresh wage review as 70,000 naira implementation crisis worsen. Accuses 17 states, FCT of non-implementation of current minimum wage. Still on the front page, we have abducted Oyo school principal, teacher in videos appeal for rescue of students and teachers. Police subject viral videos to forensic analysis. Yoruba land now under siege, Afenifere raises alarm. Nudges Southwest government on attacks in Oyo, Ekiti, Ogun, Ondo, and Kwara. Oyo deepens government visit community, says security agencies on top of the situation. Would not take stories from inside of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On page 2, we have Orire kidnap incident, reveals intelligence failures, says Makinde. Atiku knocks Tinubu's slow response to South Africa crisis, says Tinubu's debt addiction is economic vandalism. On page 3, we have abducted Oyo school principal, teachers appeal for rescue of teachers and students. Still on page 3, we have NLC pushes for fresh wage as review of the 70,000 implementation crisis worsen. Moving on to page 5, we have airtime lending freeze persists despite court order. Moving on from that, we have on page 6, Nigeria is not in a debt crisis, but should rethink borrowing, says experts. Still on page 6, we have NDPHC aims to address Lagos electricity deficit with additional 1,500 megawatt supply. Moving on from that, we still have on the Nigerian Tribune more stories to take. We have NNPC should stop acting as a regulator controlling crude oil sales. This is coming from Dr. Olisa Agbakogba, former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, and this is on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune. Moving on from that, let's check more stories on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On page 22, Ogun East, Kwara Central, Imo West remain contentious. As APC holds Senate primaries today, Senator plots return tickets and controversies hit reps primaries as more candidates emerge. Still on page 22, governorship primaries. Aruno urges Nasarawa APC faithful to vote for him. On page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune, confusion in PDP as Turaki's camp set to screen its own candidates. Still on page 23, Shetima withdraws from Kaduna Central Senatorial race. Rift in Ogun APC over alleged imposition of candidates ahead of the 2027 election. On page 24, Senate primary, APC, NWC waits on Tinubu's intervention on the continuous zones. Still on page 23, PRP strategies ahead of 2027 election forecloses adoption of APC presidential candidates. PDP, APM coalition unveils resets Lagos Agenda 2027, promises inclusive governance. On page 25, we have Don't Lose Faith in Nigeria, APC national chairman pleads with Nigerians. Still on page 25, scientists reverse stroke damage using stem cells. Now let's move on from that. On page 26, we have NCDC intensifies surveillance as Ebola outbreak spreads in Central East Africa. Still on page 26, we have Yoruba land is under siege. Afenifere raises alarm, nudges Southwest governance on attacks in Oyo, Ekiti, Ogun, Ondo, and Kwara states. Still on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, we have, moving on to the sports stories now. Moving on to the sports stories. We have God of Soccer was on our side, says Ianacho. I'm happy to begin Diamond League with medal. Amuson. And lastly, on the sports segment of the Nigerian Tribune, we have I can't sell Osimhen for 100 million euros, says the Gala boss. And that's all we have on the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Yeah, Florence, that was a nice one. All right, of course, we'll go on a break. And when we come back, we'll serve you with the weather report, after which we'll be coming back with the interview segment. Stay with us. Don't go away. Good morning.
To architect Bisola and builder Brian to rebuild the city.
We'll need some help. Let's get up and go!
You'll need more Cowbell Choco to complete your mission.
To get up and go, give them Cowbell Choco.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
chocolate, the treat you deserve.
Progress.
disturbed Esiele and Yawata communities in Orire local government area of Oyo State after armed attackers stormed schools in the area around 9:40 Friday morning. The affected schools are LA Basic School, Awuro Esiele, Community High School, Awuro Esiele, and a private school in Yawata community. Eyewitnesses said the attackers fired sporadically to scare residents and prevent any resistance before whisking away the principal of Community High School, Mrs. Rachel Folawe Alamu, 5 teachers, and an unspecified number of students. During the attack, the assistant head teacher, Joel Adesina, was reportedly shot dead while attempting to escape through a window, while another resident of the community was also confirmed killed. Findings further revealed that the abductors later set ablaze the vehicle belonging to the abducted principal in a nearby bush, heightening fear and panic across the communities. When BCOS News visited the area Friday afternoon, residents were seen in grief and confusion as security personnel intensified efforts to rescue the victims. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Abimbola Olubenga, who arrived the communities with his team around 1:43 in the afternoon, led a joint security operation comprising officers of Operation Burst Monitoring Unit, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and Amotekun Corps into the forest in search of the abducted victims. The police commissioner assured residents of the commitment of security agencies to strengthen security across the state and appealed to members of the public to provide useful information that could aid the arrest of the attackers.
Làwọn ọmọ wọlé bíi táìmù 10 o'clock ní àwọn ọmọ ní wọ́n ṣe dé báyìí 10 o'clock sáà ni àwọn ènìyàn dé. So àwa wà nínú kíláàsì bí wọ́n ṣe sọ pé ọ̀yá move. So move sí wọ́n ṣàṣọ ọmọ tí mo gbé lọ́wọ́ báyìí wọ́n ṣàjí ọmọ ń gbà ní ọwọ́ mi. Jíjí gáàsì wọ́n dìbò àbáyé ni mo bá pẹ́ wọ́n ẹ dákun ẹ ṣàánú mi. Wọ́n bá fi sọwọ́ ibi tí wọ́n tún ti sọwọ́ stẹ́ẹ̀kì mọ́ lọ́ba ìlẹ́lòmíì ló tún gbáyà mi bọ̀ àwọn ọmọ tó sá kò ní skul wa ó pọ̀ wọ́n sì tún gbé staff.
Also reacting to the incident, the Commissioner for Education in Oyo State, Olusegun Olayiwola, described the attack on the schools as barbaric. He said government and security agencies were intensifying efforts to secure the safe release of all abducted victims.
Secondary school wa kan ní abúlé tó wà nísàlẹ̀ bí principal school yẹn wọ́n gbé lọ deputy head teacher primary school yẹn òun ni wọ́n pa so wọ́n ní bí wọ́n ṣe tàbọn ní gbogbo àwọn ọmọ school sá lọ ìkan motorcycle ajínigbé rẹ̀ bí.
Similarly, the Permanent Secretary and Tutor General, TESCOM Ogbomoso Zone, Mrs. Salimat Ayigboyin, described the incident as a serious threat to education and peaceful coexistence in the area.
It's very disheartening, very inhuman. The 3 communities were thrown into money mood. In fact, it's a great problem and a great threat to the peace of the community. You can see that since morning, nobody has been able to sit. The moment we have from the office, we have to move out. So the community, we can all see that the communities are very peaceful, very loving, but every place is thrown into chaos. So it's a great threat to human existence.
As at the time of filing this report, security operatives were continuing coordinated search and rescue operations in the forest to secure the release of the abducted victims unarmed.
Quite sad, of course. That was reports came from Orire, and quite unfortunate this incident happened, leaving many families in worries, many families in mourning mood. Quite unfortunate. Of course, this morning we're now in the interview segment, and we're going to be looking at the topic, terror attacks, Borno, or your students' abduction. That's what we're looking at this morning. And that report, we just rounded off, showed us situation report, as at the time of filing that report from the local government, and people have spoken. We have heard so much, but we can't do this conversation. We can't have this conversation without an expert. And this morning, we have a former British police officer who doubles as a security consultant. He is a renowned consultant, security expert, Chief Rotimi Williams Fadoju. You're welcome this morning, and we're privileged to have you on our station this morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Quite heartbreaking, the situation. We thought the issue of abduction was synonymous with the northern part of Nigeria and North Central and the likes. One would not have expected that eve of election, where people thought that the Southwest was safe, that we'll be recording this kind of abduction. And when we were hearing about the northern part of Nigeria experiencing such abduction, I once thought that it was a movie. It never really happened in real life. But it's happening close to our doorstep. What would you like to say about this as an expert?
Thank you so much for having me this morning. Firstly, my thoughts and prayers are with the families, the residents, and the citizens of Oyo State. And secondly, I want to give kudos to and appreciate the job that our security men and women out there are presently doing. In response to the question you asked, that view that yes, it was synonymous to certain area of our country, that view could probably be shared by people without the knowledge of security and the meaning of kidnapping or the consequences or the outcome of kidnapping. Because when you look at the trend we have now compared to when the issue of kidnapping started, you now realize that yes, kidnapping is now a big business. It's a big money-making business. And if we are now, and there is no part of Nigeria that we don't have criminals, and the purpose of being in any criminal activity is to take advantage of the less privileged. And now, this is now extending to our shores in the Southwest that we thought initially, number one, that it could not get here. Number two, that no. We are more or less like an isolated island in Nigeria. But now it has come, and we now have to find solutions. How are we going to deal with this? And if you want me to be very emphatic, if you look at, I am not going to talk much, particularly in exposing, because I started by praising our security operatives, men and women out there in the dark, in this rain now. They are trying to rescue these innocent Nigerians that are being taken out of their own will, being subjected to mental and physical torture. So the modus of operandi is not what I'm going to sit down here and be analyzing, because the experts are there. One thing I know is that yes, our security operatives, with the collaboration and support of Nigerians, they've been able to curtail or restrict the movement of these criminals to a certain areas. And what is now left is how they are going to rescue these innocent Nigerians without being harmed. I have been following this situation since the day it started, and I think early this morning I had our governor, I think it was giving press statement concerning the modus of operandi, and unfortunately the death of somebody that was killed. Although the statement wasn't elaborate, maybe that person was killed as a result of crossfire between the kidnappers and the operatives. But all this information, by the special grace of God, I'm sure that by the end of these operations, when we have our children back home safely, when we have our women back home safely, when we have those people taken out of their will back home safely, I think a full report, even if there are certain areas that will be for security reason, that will be doctored, a report about how they are being rescued will be known to the general public.
Okay, before we go to more questions, since you mentioned His Excellency's, speaking with journalists on this subject matter, I think we should quickly go ahead and look at His Excellency Governor Makinde's Violence Crime Response Unit and what it entails. We'll be right back after this report. Stay with us.
I think I should take it.
What did you take it? All right, welcome back. It's still AM120. We apologize. We couldn't take that report immediately. But before the program comes to an end, we're going to take that report because we want to look at what it entails vis-a-vis the ongoing situation. Florence.
Yeah, so, the whole situation, let's talk about the details that happened. There was a report that the kidnappers moved through Alausa. How is it possible that they went through the road and there was no obstruction, there was no, checkpoint or anything, and they just went freely like that?
Sorry, if you may repeat that question, please.
I was saying that there was a report that the attackers moved through Alausa with the school children in, buses and in their dozens, and there was no obstruction on the road, there was no, checkpoint or anything, and they just went through like that.
Thank you so much. If that situation is confirmed to be true, you see, where you are in a situation like this, you have many options. If the security operatives decide that the best option for them at that particular moment is to allow a free passage while they have laid siege or they have information, and in this case, only in few cases has what is happening now has happened before, where we have got a situation report that confirms that yes, we now know where our children are. We now know where the kidnappers are. We've been able to curtail them. Imagine a situation if the rescue operators, in this case the security operatives, decide that, look, we are going to lay siege, we are going to have blockades of the road and make sure this thing is stopped at all means. Any life that is lost is sacrosanct. That life deserves to be rescued. So it's like when a sick man is taken or somebody that is involved in an accident is taken to a hospital for a quick operation. That victim does not decide the doctors that will operate or how he will be operated. That decision is left for the medical expert to now decide this is what we are going to do. In this case, yes, this might be surprising. If the security operative decides that, look, if we deflate, for instance, at 120 kilometers per hour, a bus that has, let's say, like 30 children, if you decide that at that moment the best thing is to stop this vehicle at all costs, and you fire at the tire, and the tire exploded, and the vehicle somersaulted, you've had more than necessary casualties. So if you now decide, like, look, during training, let me tell you this, it might surprise you. It is a known fact that all security operatives, even including in Nigeria, if you carry firearms, you are being warned that it is better for you to allow a criminal to escape than to shoot randomly. It is better. You are being trained that yes, let him escape. We now use other apparatus to locate him or to track him, than for you to say, oh, that is the criminal. He is in the midst of people, then you started firing. If you kill an innocent man, you'll be reprimanded for that. So saying that the security operatives allows them free passage, or that how did they get free passage, that is now left for the security operatives. If they know that many lives will be lost if those attackers, can you imagine a situation? These men and women, I call them men and women, that perpetrate this crime, they have, Yoruba people will say, Ikolamba Losoju Ogun. They have a mission, either to come out alive or to die. If they are going down, they are not ready to go down alone. In a situation, they are armed. In a situation where they now know that, yes, the end has come, they might start shooting, killing those innocent people before being killed. By then, you have more than necessary victims and casualties.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And let's look at this whole incident. Away from Oyo alone, let's also touch on Borono. We had always been told way back that when something, there's a security situation, we are usually not giving update about, the current state, what the security operatives are doing. And because this is to help manage the situation so that the perpetrators do not have other plans ahead. And so these reports are not given in the open. But today, we're even seeing on the screen movement of security agencies, report on how the movement is being done. Is this not going to jeopardize the process of rescuing the people involved?
Thank you so much. You see, when you talk of social media, some of the problem or the challenges that we have as security operatives today, not only in Nigeria, worldwide, is this access to social media. You see many people that are not security professionals. Because of social media access, they become security analysts, showing what they ought not to have shown, displaying on social media what they ought not to have displayed. And I'm going to bring you back to the death of one of our brigadier general that was killed last year. This was as a result of social media, well, it's not intervention, a social media publicity, things that were supposed to be in secret or in the purview of the security expert. The Yoruba people will say something. They say, that means the house of the husband, they are wise, they are also, the concubines is also wise. These criminal activities that we are talking about today, this kidnapping, they have people, and I can tell you this, that monitors events through social media. Because according to information, when that brigadier, where the brigadier general was hiding, he had given information to the appropriate authority that this is where I am hiding. How did that information get leaked to the criminals? And they were able to trace it. That means somebody is out there, part of the team that is monitoring event. So you see, as good as social media is, it needs to be controlled. People need to be aware of the consequences of the information they give out. Now, God forbid, if there is social media, I was watching the video or the clip that was sent, that woman, the vice principal, pleading about this Orire Now, if that social media, if that information is from maybe from the outside, if it is not from inside, that will give more clue, more information to the perpetrators, particularly about the modus of operandi. You know, when I came on here now, I said, look, there are certain things that I, as a person, as a sign of patriotism, an act of my profession, I will not disclose. But most of these people, they go on social media, oh, these criminals, they are so placed now with our children. That can endanger not only the lives of their victims, it will also endanger the lives of the people that are in the position of rescuing them. Because if social media or a woman or a young man out there is showing the movement of vehicles, our operatives movement, somebody could easily dictate, oh, this vehicle is going from zone A to B. This is the name of this road. He can pass that information, and that can lead to the criminals laying ambush. Okay. That is why we have this retrogressive consequences at times through social media.
Okay. We'll still talk more on the social media, but let's go and take this report on Makinde's Violence Crime Response Unit.
In compliance with the directive of the Inspector General of Police aimed at replacing disbanded tactical squads with a more accountable, intelligence-driven, professionally trained and human rights complex structure, the Nigerian Police Force established the Violent Crime Response Unit, VCRU. The Oyo State Command formally unveiled the specialized unit and commissioned its operational office complex with Governor Seyi Makinde performing the inauguration.
I pray in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And I pray that this unit will sustain. Amen.
Speaking at the event, Governor Makinde described the initiative as timely and strategic, noting that security remains a collective responsibility, requiring sustained collaboration between government, security agencies, and residents. The governor said the establishment of the VCRU reflects a shared commitment to strengthening the security architecture of Oyo State and ensuring a peaceful environment where citizens can live and conduct their lawful activities without fear. Commenting on the recent abductions involving school children in Oriire local government area of the state, Governor Makinde stressed that the development serves as a reminder that security must never be taken for granted, emphasizing the need for constant vigilance, proactive measures, and prompt response mechanisms. Governor Makinde also identified inadequate information sharing within communities as one of the major challenges confronting security operations and urged residents to promptly report suspicious movements and activities to relevant authorities.
The establishment of this specialized violent crime response unit is therefore a welcome development. It represents a more intelligence-driven, professional, and rapid response approach to tackling violent crimes. From what we know so far about yesterday's incident at Oriire local government area, there's still a big gap between giving timely information within people in our communities, seeing something and saying it in a timely manner, to the security agencies. So I want to use this opportunity to encourage our community leaders, citizens, to please be watchful about your environment.
Earlier in his welcome address, the Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Ayodeji Abimbola, commended the Oyo State government for its consistent support towards strengthening security operations in the state. The police commissioner noted that the administration's commitment to peace, institutional support, and public safety has continued to encourage security agencies in the discharge of their responsibilities. CP Abimbola explained that the Violent Crime Response Unit is designed as a specialized intervention squad with clearly defined operational procedures, enhanced supervision, and strict adherence to the rule of law.
I'm particularly proud to inform this gathering that the officers carefully selected into this unit were drawn from various divisions and formations across Oyo State based on competence, discipline, operational experience, and integrity. These officers have undergone intensive and specialized training in intelligence gathering, tactical operations, weapon handling, crisis response, and most importantly, human rights protection and civil interaction.
The Oyo State Coordinator of the National Human Rights Commission, Abayomi Ogundele, and the Coordinator of the Bado Campaign Peace Initiative, Dr. Nuruddin Akiade, who described the initiative as a significant step towards improving security in the state, commended Governor Makinde for prioritizing security and assured the police command of the continued cooperation and support of the public.
In the society where security remains fundamental to peace, development, and the protection of human rights, the establishment of this specialized unit demonstrates the commitment of the police force to combating criminal activities and ensuring the protection of lives and property.
The community will work hand in hand with the people on the field. Everybody are now involved.
Highlights of the event were tactical simulation and operational demonstrations staged by officers of the Violent Crime Response Unit and inauguration of the VCRU committee. Dignitaries at the event included the chairman of the board of the Oyo State Security Network Agency, Amotekun, retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG Sikiru Akonde, former Commissioner of Police, Oyo State Command, Ayodele Shonubi, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, Abayomi Fagbero, among other top government and security officials. Olamide Owolabi, BCOS News.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point oh.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as Sure Banker. Progress na small win wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course na, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for your progress.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria.
Comel!
Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on malaria gone.
All right, welcome back. It's still AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. Over to you, Florence.
Yes, so the report we just have from our Governor Makinde on the Violent Crime Response Unit. This morning in the Nigerian Tribune, it came out that Orire kidnap incident reveals intelligence failures. That's what the governor said. And he also said that that the abduction involving in the school in Orire local government areas exposed serious weakness in intelligence gathering and timely reporting of suspicious activities to security agencies. What do you think of this? And what are the lapses? What are those areas that they were, misinformation or intelligence failures?
Thank you so much. It's easy for you and I to blame or to pass blame rather than taking responsibilities. Let me tell you, it is a known fact that this issue of kidnapping is a big business in Nigeria. Big business, multi-billion naira business. Being sponsored by some people benefiting out of it. It is also a known fact that Nigeria as a country, we do not have, point two, we do not have the human and the technology or technological resources to combat or to face or to tackle these issues heads on. Now, if our governor, who is the chief security officer of the state, is blaming or apportioning blame rather than for us, because when things like this happen, I always look at it logically. Before we apportion blame, the Yoruba people will say, let us first of all chase away who are the people that the governor is blaming for this lack of information gathering or dissemination of information. It is everybody's responsibility. I have said it many times here in this studio. If we are going to fight these criminal elements head on, number one, we should look at it holistically. What are the tools available to our men that are constitutionally empowered to fight this criminal? What are the tools? Do they have the technology? In the United Kingdom, the police officers there were not magicians. The system support us. And that is why you will hardly see a roadblock in the United Kingdom. Hardly you will see men patrolling the streets with AK-47. Hardly will you see, even when there is riot, will you see policemen attacking physically those rioters. Why? Because there is what we call big brothers watching. You might have your day today, but the law is coming after you tomorrow. That is the way we are trained. We are not going to endanger our lives because the technology is there to support us. And we are not going to hide anything. In Oyo State, look at how big Oyo State is. How many police officers do we have in Oyo State? Out of those police officers, how many are still allocated, right? Even if we say that yes, even, let's put it this way, if all the policemen in Oyo State, I can tell you for good that the policemen in Oyo State, they are not up to 10,000. Or let's put it 12,000. How can, and the population in Oyo State and our, what is it called? How big Oyo State is in terms of areas. Can 20,000 policemen patrol Oyo State and secure Oyo State successfully? No. So by now blaming those innocent men, I know many police officers that works more than 12 hours a day. They are also human beings. So if things like this happen, rather than for us to be apportioning blame or blaming the security agents, I think we should all sit down and find a way out of this, because this blaming system has been going on for years.
Okay, Chief, let's leave the blaming system for a while. And you did raise some issues. You talked about government, the system, supporting police personnel. Now let's look at the area of support that you feel the police are supposed to get and they're not getting. Not forgetting the fact that the police is a federal system, also not a state system. So what do you think? Because if we look at what the governor of Oyo State has done by supporting them with, crime units, with, things to work with, equipment, building, and if you look at the trend, of His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde, since they came to office, he has also been supporting them with vehicles, You have them in various locations, even very close to us here in Idiakwe, coupled with the support of the local security Amotekun, led by retired Colonel Olagunju, Olayinka Olagunju. You'd also see that this government in your state had been proactive, trying their best to make sure that the people are safe.
You are correct. But let me say this. When you keep recycling the same system and you expect a different result, my opinion is it's never going to work.
What is the cycle that we're recycling?
Yes, ma'am. Before Governor Seyi Makinde, I relocated back to Nigeria almost 20 years ago.
Okay.
I was here in Oyo State during the tenure of Ajimobi. I was here in Oyo State during the tenure of Alao Akala. All these late governors, they supported this Nigerian police or our security in Oyo State. I know. But when you recycle the same thing and it's not bringing a different result. Yes, Governor Seyi Makinde gives out vehicles, operational vehicles. How are those vehicles, how are they being maintained? Those vehicles, they don't run on solar. They run on petrol. What are the allocations for the movement? Who is responsible? You see, showcasing all this is beyond, it's not what security is all about. You may not provide vehicles. You may equip. There are other ways you can equip your security personnel in terms of technology. There are ways that you equip the people in the neighborhood. How to pass information. Are all those things there? Look at the landmass of Oyo State. There are ways that you synergize with your neighboring states. And I think that is what has worked out now concerning this issue. Because the Oyo State Command quickly synergized with their partners or their counterparts in Kwara State. And they were able to curtail the movement. Had it been these criminals elements have been able to escape out of Oyo State, we will not be saying what we are saying now. Is going to be a different story entirely, because it will be that we are still searching for them. Now, it's not that we are searching for them. We know where they are, but it is the modus of operandis that we don't want unnecessary casualties. That is the stage that things are now. So you see, if you give a vehicle to a policeman that works, this is beyond the state level. That, and this is a fact. I know most of the DPOs in Oyo State, most of them, they sleep in their office. They have their shower in their office. Now tell me, how will you expect somebody that has been in the same office, maybe over the last 4 or 5 days, how will you expect him to be physically agile, to tackle issues? I have said it many times. The system that we are operating in Nigeria, particularly about our policemen, is not working. It is beyond the power of the state governors.
But Chief, the last time I checked, I do not think that anybody has asked these DPOs to sleep in their office. I think what they're just doing is trying to be on ground to do their job.
Let me tell you, I am a free Nigerian man. This is what I know very well.
I am also aware of it, but before we go into it in details, let's quickly pay some bills. We need to go on a commercial break. When we come back, Chief, you're going to expand and expatiate on this conversation. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. So, no need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Welcome back. It's still AM120, and we're in conversation with our guest, Chief Rotimi Williams Fadoju, a security consultant and former British police officer, talking about the terror attacks, Borno, Oyo student abduction. So I was going to ask, before we went on the break, this violence crime response unit that was commissioned by the governor of Oyo State, looking at the urgency of the matter, in getting the children back, is that supposed to be the course of action? Plus, you mentioned that we have about 10,000 police officers in Oyo State, and, they are not enough. So is it that, we have people who were diverted from their other groups to be part of the violence crime response unit, or these are a whole new people that are just being recruited to do the job? And how can we, guarantee that they actually know what they're supposed to do in the units that they are given to, considering the urgency of, getting the children back?
You see, before this rapid response unit, in Oyo State here, we have had many units being formed, funded by the state governors. And you now realize that after a while, they go into extinction. Why did they go into extinction? Because of lack of proper funding. It is one thing to say, even in Oyo State here, I think I've heard of, there was a time, maybe Operation Off Ada. They will create one unit. Or it is the same policemen in Oyo State that maybe they take some from one division, the CP probably gives other, and say, look, this DPO released 5 men from that division. That is -5. If they have 40 men, these men are not newly recruited. They are not newly trained. They are not newly brought into the state. They are part, and that is why there was a time I was on a program like this, I said, look, there is nothing like free sand filling. If you have a hole or a pothole in your house and you want to fill it up, you are going to dig from maybe another part of your house to fill it up. So there is nothing like free sand filling. And that is exactly what is happening. The fact remains that, look, in Nigeria today, our security personnel are overstretched. You remove them. I have a boy now that's just been returned from a mission. He was taken from Oyo State to another state on a mission. He's now been brought back, and as he's returning back, not even spending few days with his wife and family, he's been moved again and is part of Oyo State. That is the system that we've been operating upon. If we want to fight this issue, look, in the United Kingdom, we have specialists. You will never, ever, no commissioner of police, instead of our inspector general of police that we have in Nigeria, the equivalent is commissioner of police. The equivalent of commissioner of police, Oyo State, is called chief constable in the United Kingdom. There is no commissioner of police that will give directives to a chief constable and said, look, move 2,000 from your constabulary to another constabulary, except when there is emergency. And it's going to be a synergized approach between the two chief constables. It has got nothing to do with the commissioner of police. But here in Nigeria, that is why I said we keep recycling. Yes, it's good. Governor will come and say, yes, we are supporting our security operatives. We have bought vehicles. We have done this. We have done that. But you keep moving these men or taking one from here, and it's like patching a house.
Okay, so because our time is fast spent and we need to look at all the issues. We have not really talked about the Borno. What do you think is the stance, should be the stance of the National Security Advisor on this whole, insecurity vis-a-vis the Oyo and Borno attack?
Look, as a citizen now, I am no longer, I am expressing my view as a citizen of Nigeria. I was born here before I relocated back to UK, before I relocated to... Now, my approach might be different from that of the National Security Advisor because of, number one, I have no political affiliations. I'm not a politician.
Okay.
I have no religious affiliations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have no religious affiliations because it makes my tummy regurgitate. One time when I had a cleric I'm not going to mention, maybe it's
okay. Whether you're going to mention his name or not, let's quickly pay some bills because we have to go on a commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. So, no need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids. Milo!
All right, we still have in the studio with us this morning Chief Rotimi Williams Fadoju, who is a former British police officer and, of course, security consultant. And he's been looking at the topic, terror attack, Borno, or your student abduction. So we're talking about the stance of the NSA.
Yes, ma'am. My opinion will be based not on religious affiliations. Like I said, my tummy was regurgitating sometimes when I had a cleric even raining curses on some personnel from that operates or maybe that has a religious, that are attached to one religion section of Nigeria, that if they killed a fellow person, in other words, I'm a Christian, if a pastor is now raining curse on me that I am carrying a gun, and if I killed a Christian that perpetrates crime against this nation, in which I swore to lay down my life to defend, and that pastor is now raining a curse on me, it's never going to work. That is number two. Number three, again, tribalism. I'm from Ondo. If today, I remember when we were being given, it is called your warrant card, and our commander said, look, now you are being given the Queen's power. If you go in now to arrest your mom, if your mom commits an offense, when you get home to arrest your mom, you still have the power, you still have the she's your mom.
You have the prerogative.
The prerogative to address her as mom. Even if you want her to give you milk and cookies, you can ask. You still use the word mom. But the moment you bring out your warrant card, and you display the Queen's power, she's no longer your mom. She becomes a suspect. And you address her, Mrs. So, you are under arrest. Then you read the cautionary word. In Nigeria, until, and that is the problem, until our leaders has the political will to deal, including the NSA, to deal with this issue of insecurity, without bringing in tribalism, without bringing in politics, without bringing in religion. And that is why up to today, and I'm going to quote our former Minister of Information, Uncle Alaji, this man from Ilorin, what is his name? I'm going to remember.
Is he a legal expert?
No. The last, during Buhari's regime.
Ghani?
No. During the Buhari's regime. Yes, this information minister, is it?
Oh, Lai Mohammed.
Lai Mohammed. Thank you so much. That is the reason why, during the time of Lai Mohammed came out on air that yes, Nigerian government has the name of people, even in government, that are in support of this criminal element. It is there. What happens to those people up to today? Have they been brought to justice? If the Yoruba people will say that Eshin Waju ni Teyin wo sare, if the former that committed, that supported criminal activities in this nation, if they've not been brought to book because of their status, either religiously, politically, or whatever, the people that are coming behind, they will see those people as a role model. And in as much as nothing happens to those people, they will believe. United Arab Emirates, sometimes 2 years ago, made mention of some peoples, prosecuted them, and many are in jail today. Until we all come together and go with this spirit, same spirit, that yes, enough is enough, that we need to fight this crime, and everything that supports this crime We have people in this country that can sit around the table, I'm telling you the fact, and bring the security solutions, provide the security solution of this nation within 2 hours, if they are given the opportunity.
All right, sir. So let's talk about the abduction now. In Governor Makinde's report, it said that the community members, in reporting abnormalities and stuff in the community, but it was said that these people came in, in military uniforms, and they were even happy that they have gotten more protection and stuff. So what do you think people should do in that kind of situation?
Thank you so much.
Especially, well, let me add this, especially since the way we look at soldiers now is as if we cannot address them. We can't talk to them, we can't question them. So what would those people have done in a situation like that, or in case?
You see, there is what we call proliferation. There is proliferations in firearms. That is illegal acquisition of firearms. There is also illegal acquisition of uniforms. It wasn't like this in the 70s, in the late 60s when I was growing up. If you approach any military or paramilitary formations, they have a section that is designed, that is meant wholly for the provisions of uniform. You cannot go to Jankara Market and get police uniform. You cannot even go to army formations or police formations then, getting uniform without the appropriate steps taken. In Nigeria today, you may not, earlier on, maybe when I wanted to talk about, or maybe because you wanted to pay bills. Let me tell you today, going back to the issue of DPOs, yes, it's good, we can sit down here and even DPOs might come out and say, no, we want to stay in our office because we want to monitor things. There is no human being that is robot. I can tell you for free that if a commissioner of police by 1 a.m. in the morning, if a commissioner of police, I'm not talking about Oyo State alone, this is what I know. If a commissioner of police or a deputy commissioner of police in charge of operations calls a DPO by 1 a.m., he doesn't want to know the distance between the DPO's office and where he lives. If he gives him 10 minutes to be in the office, if that DPO is not in the office, he will be reprimanded.
Okay, very well, sir. Before we wrap it up on the program this morning, tell us, do you have confidence in the security architecture in Oyo State vis-a-vis support from Kwara State to rescue these children alive without having more casualties? Do you think we have the wherewithal?
Let me tell you, anywhere Nigerian men in uniform goes, they come back home with laurels. They are one of the best in the world. When they go out, they have the equipment and all the necessary tools to do the jobs. They come back to Nigeria with laurels, United Nations missions. So I have every confidence in our men that yes, they can do the job successfully if given the necessary tools to do the job. I have never doubted them. In this case, I also have the confidence that yes, with the support of the government, but we are all human beings. If I'm to be amongst the parents of those children, will I insist that government must use kinetic energy or force? So that is where the lacunas are. I pray, I support them in prayer, and I support my boys out there. I'm older than them. I support them in prayer and in everything, that yes, this operation will end successfully, and that no, except maybe one